Welcome everyone, and thank you all for attending Community Gateway Association's 15th Annual General Meeting. I'm David Yates, Chair of the Board at Community Gateway Association. Due to the pandemic, this is our very first virtual event, and I hope you will all have an informative evening, whilst being able to relax in the comfort of your own homes. However, I do miss seeing you all in person and hope that we can all be together for the next AGM if circumstances allow. If you have any questions during the course of the event, please use the link below and you will have till around 6:30 to ask your question. The last year has seen a number of initiatives at Community Gateway, from launching our new tenant engagement framework to establishing.
Good evening everyone, and thank you David for welcoming everyone to our first virtual AGM. As David said, I'm Rob Wakefield, Chief Executive of Community Gateway Association, and I'm pleased to also welcome you to our virtual AGM this year. And I'm really keen that whilst we are doing this AGM a little different than normal, we have remained true to Gateway's founding principles by doing it in such a way where we can involve our members and our tenants in taking part in a safe way from the comfort of your own homes in the decisions that affect the homes and communities that you live in. I'm also pleased to confirm that we are quorate for this evening's meeting, with over 80 full members actively streaming the event. We've also received a small number of apologies, and we'll make those available at the end of the meeting. Item 3 on the agenda is the first formal item of business, and it's to approve the minutes of last year's AGM, which took place on the 11th of September 2019. Based on the votes that we've received, the results are as follows. Thank you for voting. The resolution has been passed. Item 4 on the agenda relates to our annual report. All our members will have received one of these in the post, and it's also been made available on our website for everyone to access. The content of the annual report covers the period from April 2019 through to March 2020, and I'm just going to take a few minutes now to highlight some of the key pieces of work over the past 12 months. At the last AGM, I spoke to you about our review of tenant involvement and engagement, and I was keen to ensure that all our tenants continue to have an opportunity to have their say and influence how we carried out our services, and identify we can look to do things better. Now, during the year, we launched our new approach to engagement, which provides more ways for our tenants to have a say. We have retained the traditional approaches, such as focus groups and round tables, but we've also introduced more short, snappy, bite-sized opportunities for people to get involved, and also increased our online opportunities to get involved as well for those that want to engage with us in a more digital manner. There'll be more information on our new approach in the video from Pam Watson, one of our involved tenants, a little later. And if you would like to get more involved with CGA, please contact our community engagement team. Through listening to your feedback, we know it's important that we continue to invest in your homes. Over the course of the last 12 months, we've invested over £10 million carrying out upgrades to your homes, including new kitchens, new bathrooms, new energy efficient boilers and heating systems, and new roofs. And we've also modernised 48 blocks across the Deepdale and Grange areas, and we'll continue this programme of upgrades over the coming years. Using your feedback, we've also undertaken targeted works, for example at Porter Street, where we've revamped properties into bright and welcoming places, alongside significantly improving the communal landscaping, and you can read more about this and see some pictures on page 7 of our annual report. Over the year, we've also continued to build much needed new homes. We've completed 68 new homes in total, including attractive and spacious family homes on the site of the former Brookfield Church, which is now Oakworth Avenue, on Garrison Road in Fulwood, and at the Cotton Waterside development. We are on site across the city, and we've got plans in place to build hundreds of new, good quality, affordable homes over the next few years. Alongside that, we're also working with our partners, Preston City Council, in bringing empty homes back into use for good quality family housing. One of the biggest challenges facing Sidesea at the moment is homelessness, and when we asked you what you felt we should prioritise over the next few years, homelessness came very high on that list. So listening to your feedback, acting on it, we've made really positive progress in the past 12 months in this area. During the year, we stepped in when a local homeless charity was going into administration, and by being prepared to step in, we managed to ensure that 200 individuals and families who were at risk of becoming homeless managed to retain a secure home. We also, as part of that process, took responsibility for running the homeless hostel on Fox Street in the city centre. To make our work count in this area, we've established the Housing Pathways Service, and they, alongside partners such as Preston City Council and the Foxton Centre, are working to provide homes and support services to homeless people with a view to providing them with an opportunity to secure a home moving forward. The annual report covers much more. It covers the great work that our teams, working with our tenants and communities, are doing right across the city, and much of which has also been covered in our Gateway in the Community Impact Report, which is available to you should you wish to have a look at some of the great work and great outcomes that we have achieved over the past 12 months. I couldn't finish this without touching on the coronavirus, which has had a significant impact on every single one of us over the past few months. At CGA, we prioritised the health, safety and well-being of our tenants, our communities and our colleagues, and as a result we had to carry out some of our services differently, and indeed pause some services until it was safe and appropriate for them to begin again. Equally important was to be there for people, to provide tenants and communities with the support they needed as they wrestled with the impacts of coronavirus. Colleagues from across the business were involved in our community support programme that has seen colleagues making nearly 10,000 welfare calls to tenants, making sure people had what they need, packing and delivering nearly 9,000 food parcels, carrying out over 2,500 emergency repairs over the course of lockdown so people had a safe and secure home to live, providing many tenants with financial advice and support given the impact coronavirus has had on the economy and on jobs over the past few months, and providing safe and secure housing for people that found themselves homeless during the pandemic. This really was quite an incredible achievement, and full credit must go to CGA colleagues from across the business for the sheer hard work that went into doing this at such a difficult time. Looking ahead, we'll continue to work with our tenants and communities to support them to recover from the impacts of coronavirus. Realistically, this is likely to take some time, but Community Gateway, as a community-based housing association and a key anchor institution within Preston, is committed to do everything we can to help our communities recover successfully. In addition, we'll continue to invest in your homes and services, and I hope over the next few weeks we'll also be in the position to launch our new extra care facility, the Courtyards. The Courtyards has been quite long in the making, and we've had a few problems along the way, but we're all committed to making this development one we can all be really proud of. I'm now very pleased to introduce our Community Hero Awards, which recognises and celebrates the great work of individuals and groups out in our communities. That was great to see. Many congratulations to all those that won awards and all the nominees as well. The positive role you play in our communities, particularly over the past few months, has perhaps never been more important. So it's great that we can recognise that work and celebrate the success of that work as well. So once again, many congratulations. I'd also just like to take a second to thank the judges for their time in helping select very worthy winners from a very strong field of nominees. With that, I'll now hand over to Craig Garner, our Exec Director of Resources and Company Secretary, who will take you through the next part of the AGM. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob, and good evening, everybody. My name's Craig Garner. I'm the Executive Director of Resources here at Community Gateway. I'm here to run through a few of the formal resolutions this evening. Firstly, resolution number 2 to approve the Director's report and financial statements. As a reminder, our financial year ran from the 1st of April 2019 to the 31st of March 2020. The Director's report and financial statements have been audited by Beaver and Struthers. Beaver and Struthers have provided an unqualified audit opinion, which means there has been an independent review with no issues arising which affect the quality of our financial statements. The Director's report and financial statements have also been considered by the Audit and Risk Committee before being approved by CGA's board in July. I'm quickly going to look through some key statistics. Firstly, income. Where does our money come from? The bulk of our income is from rents. At 27.7 million, this is 2 million higher than last year, primarily because of the 430 new homes we acquired from Regenda and Clarion at the end of March 2019. You'll also note we borrowed an additional 11 million from Barclays during the year to support our ongoing development programme. We received 4.4 million grant support for building and acquiring those new homes. And finally, we sold 34 homes through Right to Buy and Right to Acquire, which is included in the 1.8 million from property sales. Next, where does our money go? Where do we spend it? Hopefully, you'll see the clear link between the additional borrowing I mentioned and the additional spend on new developments at 19.4 million. This is 7 million more than last year and equates to 68 new homes built or acquired and a further 174 new homes which are in the process of being built. We've spent almost 12 million on maintaining and improving homes during 2019-20, which equates to around 1,800 per home. It's also important to note that our Gateway Property Care team are doing around 75% of our improvement programme alongside all our day-to-day repairs. This continues to improve our efficiency and we remain in the top 25% of all housing associations in the country. The Director's report and financial statements are on our website, so hopefully you've had a chance to have a look. And there's also a summary included in the annual report. Therefore, resolution number 2 is to approve the Director's report and financial statements. Based on the votes received, the results are as follows. So thank you to all those who have voted. That resolution is passed. We now move on to the resolutions relating to appointments. Firstly, in relation to our external auditors, resolution number 3 to appoint Beaver and Struthers as auditors for the forthcoming year. Beaver and Struthers are a leading accountancy and audit firm and have significant housing sector experience. They became our auditors last year and were selected as part of a thorough tender and selection process. Based on the votes received, the results are as follows. So thank you to those who have voted. That resolution is passed. The next 2 resolutions relate to appointments to CGA's board. Resolution number 4 to reappoint Sue Lyons as a tenant board member to serve the remainder of her 3rd term of office. Sue has been an involved tenant for many years and has a real passion for improving services for all, by ensuring all tenants' voices are heard and represented. Sue is an advocate of the Gateway model and is keen to see the number of new homes continue to grow whilst ensuring the environment is protected and visually pleasing. Based on the votes received, the results are as follows. So thank you to all those who have voted. That resolution is passed. Resolution number 5 to appoint Phil Paramore as a tenant board member. Phil has been an involved tenant for over 3 years. During that time, he has been chair of Gateway Central, including being a member of the steering group that helped introduce the new tenant engagement framework, Gateway to Engagement. Phil has a particular interest in championing the involvement of working tenants and residents to help with their own well-being and personal development. He also wants to ensure that CGA encourages involvement in ways that fairly represent its customer base. Based on the votes received, the results are as follows. So thank you to all those who have voted. That resolution is passed. Finally, a slide now that shows you members of the board following today's AGM. Now I'd like to introduce Pam Watson. Pam is a tenant board member and has been involved with Community Gateway for the last 4 years. Pam has been a member of 4 action groups, chairing one of them, and a member of Gateway Central. Pam is a strong believer in the Gateway model and is extremely proud to represent tenants on the board. Pam is going to pick up resolution number 6 to approve progress against the Community Empowerment Strategy.
Thank you, Craig. As a tenant board member who has been actively involved with Community Gateway for a number of years, I really appreciate the importance of tenant involvement and the positive impact we can have on our homes and our communities. I encourage you all to get involved with CGA, and the new involvement framework has an option to suit everyone's circumstances. To show what we can achieve when we work together, I'd like to present the community engagement update for the last year. This video highlights the activity over the last 12 months to deliver the Community Empowerment Strategy. It's been an exciting year for the teams at Community Gateway. They have worked hard delivering activities in the community to create great neighbourhoods where people want to live. It's so important to everyone at Gateway that tenants are satisfied with the quality of their home and feel safe and secure in their community. This video highlights what we've delivered in the last 12 months against our Community Empowerment Strategy.
We gathered feedback from 582 people as part of the Let's Talk engagement review and used this feedback to create a new community empowerment strategy and new tenant engagement opportunities. We delivered 6 launch events, which allowed us to meet with 169 tenants and listen to your views. We sent out 734 new tenant welcome packs to inform people about the opportunities we have to get involved. And over 900 people have helped shape the way we do things by giving us their views and feedback on a range of topics.
We've been months preparing this setup that we've started today. Hopefully it will get us more tenants interested, and they should want their landlord to succeed and carry on and go from better to better.
Our employment and skills team provide one-to-one support to help people get into training, education, volunteering and employment. This year they've helped 80 people to achieve their goal, as well as delivering 136 job club sessions, which supported 167 people, 4 work placements and 7 employment and skills events, which were attended by 128 people.
I joined the project in October 2018 after being referred from local partners. I was a full-time carer for my mum and brother whilst trying to manage my own anxiety and depression. I also suffered from fibromyalgia, which impacted my daily mobility, and was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome as an adult. I started attending regular one-to-one appointments to increase my motivation, and I developed some positive objectives on an action plan. I was referred to Child Action North West for mental health support and moved to a new doctor's surgery that was more accessible to me. I started 2 volunteering roles as a baking and catering assistant. This allowed me to gain experience and confidence. I also completed a food hygiene and safety level 2 course. In August 2019, I registered on Select Move and successfully secured my own property with Community Gateway Association. By October 2019, I felt I had developed my skills and confidence, and I was now ready to look for a job. After discussing how this could fit in around my caring responsibilities, the skills and employment team helped me apply for a job. I was successful in getting a permanent job in a local family pub where I enjoy meeting new people.
As part of our new engagement strategy, we've introduced a range of digital opportunities to provide tenants with a voice and a way to stay informed. Since January this year, 222 tenants have joined our tenant-only Facebook group, 278 people have signed up to our digital newsletter, 81 digital surveys were completed, And we've increased the number of people visiting the Get Involved pages on our website by 100%.
A good example of that was some of the work we did earlier last year at Scion, where I introduced a 90-year-old gentleman to his grandchild, who's in Australia, and he was crying within minutes because he'd never seen her, and he saw her. That is a very simple way, and that's an honest and factual way of showing how you can interact.
We worked with UCLAN and our Young Persons Project group, YGAG, to carry out some research into housing for young people called the Opening Doors Project. Our minibus Penny was very busy again last year. 1,562 passengers went on 150 trips. 51 different community groups were able to use the minibus, and all thanks to our 13 trained volunteer drivers who between them travelled 8,827 miles to make these trips happen.
Several members of the group live on a very restricted income, and having the minibus for free and the volunteer drivers makes these trips affordable and accessible for all.
£8,450 was invested in cook and eat sessions at Scion Park Community Hub to promote healthy eating and community cohesion whilst combating loneliness for those who took part. We supported 31 organisations in the community. We delivered 19 community training courses to 58 people. We took part in the Big Sleep Out and raised £3,800 for the Foxton Centre. We awarded £5,000 in sponsorship to local events, and we awarded £12,471 from the Community Fund, which benefited a total of 2,895 people.
Yeah, I mean, my thing was I was out of work for a bit, and I very quickly became lonely. And I was talked into coming here by a member of staff, and at first I was not excited about it. But I came along, and very quickly got to know lots of people, new people, and built rapport with them, and we did things together. You're meeting other people, and we're all from different backgrounds. We're in the same area. That's the only thing we got in common. We're all different cultures, different backgrounds, different positions, and some of us are divorced, some of us live alone, some of us live in flats. It's all different. We've all got different skills. We all eat, well, we have to eat, we should eat, and it's good to eat a healthy, balanced diet that's affordable.
In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we set up a support hub which helped 618 tenants up to April 2020. The hub provided tenants with support for food supplies, welfare benefits, childcare, homeschooling and mental well-being.
My name's Christine, I'm from Watches and Savick Community Association, and these are some of our volunteers. We started doing a food hub on the 4th of April when lockdown first began to help the school children, families with school children, to feed the children when times were really tough. We've done it every Thursday. We started off at Ashton Primary School, then moved to St Christopher's at Leah, and I know that the children and the families have been really, really grateful of the bags that we've had. We've had support from Fairshare, Community Gateway of course, and they've also given us some funding to purchase extra food, bags, PPE equipment, masks, etc. And they've also been at the end of the telephone when we've needed advice and help, and also we've had some donations of food for Community Gateway as well.
I hope you've enjoyed our community empowerment update. If you have been inspired by anything you have seen and would like to get more involved, then please contact the Community Engagement Team at Community Gateway. I hope you've enjoyed our community empowerment update. The results of the vote to approve progress against the Community Empowerment Strategy have been counted, and this resolution has been passed. I would now like to hand back to Craig for our final resolution.
Thanks for that, Pam. I'm sure you all agree it's been another very busy year with some outstanding achievements. If you feel inspired by any of the stories or want to get involved, as Pam said, please get in touch with our engagement team. I'll now move on to the final formal resolution of the evening. This is resolution number 7 and relates to an important change to our rules. As a result of the current pandemic, we've all had to take a very different approach to our AGM this year compared to what we'd ordinarily like to do. A change in the law has meant we can do our AGM virtually, but it's highlighted the need to make a change in our rules if we want to allow greater participation in different ways in future. Going forward, we would like to ensure that all our tenants and customers have a way to attend our AGM, be that in person or through technology like tonight. This will mean that as an organisation we are able to get the views of a greater number and a more diverse range of our tenants and customers. To make this happen, we need to change our rules to allow members to participate from any venue, so they can take part virtually in the event should they wish. Therefore, we are proposing that the rules are changed to reflect this, and the details of the changes are shown on screen. They are Rule C20 and Rule C23, both of which have been reworded with the help of our lawyers. Based on the votes received, the results are as follows. So thank you to all those who have voted. The resolution is passed. I'm now going to pass over to Louise, who will lead us through our live question and answer session.
Thank you, Craig. I'm Louise Mattinson. I'm the Executive Director of Customers and Communities here at Community Gateway. I'd like to welcome everyone along to this live Q&A session. We've had some questions sent in to us in advance and others have been coming through live whilst we've been streaming. So we've had well over 100 people streaming tonight, so that's absolutely fantastic. And thank you to everybody who's joined us and for those who have submitted questions to us. We'll try and answer as many questions as we can, but everyone who has asked a question, if we don't get around to answering it tonight, you will get a direct response back. So I'd like to start. We've had a number of questions come through regarding Green Care and the grounds maintenance service that we offer, with a lot of customers telling us that they're unhappy with the condition of the estates this year. And first I'd like to start with an apology. I know the condition of the grounds maintenance and the estates this year isn't where you as tenants, or indeed we, would like it to be. Not making excuses for this, but obviously, you know, the simple fact was that just as we were starting the first cuts of the year, the country went into lockdown, and we had to prioritise our services that we were able to deliver through that period of time. And obviously grounds maintenance is a really important service, but as important as it is, it wasn't deemed to be an emergency service or an essential service whilst the country was in that situation. So, and unfortunately the nature of the work that the team do mean that they do have to work in close proximity to each other. They have to travel in vehicles together, they have to help each other lift in machinery and operating machinery, and it simply wasn't possible for us to allow them to continue to do that whilst keeping them safe and being able to keep 2 metres apart. As restrictions started to ease in June and July, we started to reintroduce that service. But obviously, although we'd stopped working, the grass hadn't stopped growing. And then as you would know, come July and the start of what should have been the school holidays, the heavens opened and then the ground got drenched. And then as we started to try and cut the grass, obviously drenched ground just makes it even harder. It normally takes us about 3 weeks to get around to all of our estates, and then we go back to the start again and do it again. Because the grass had grown so long, it's taken us about 4 to 5 weeks to do that. That doesn't make the situation any better, and I go back to what I said at the start really. You know, we do know that the estates are not looking as they should look at the moment. The only way we can really get back on top of that is to put some more resource in, and we've been trying to do that. We've been trying to get some additional help to get some more resource in, but obviously everybody's in the same situation and other contractors are having to deliver services that they're behind on as well. But The good news is we have managed to get some additional resource, and that's going to be starting next Monday. Our Green Care team are going to be starting to do overtime on top of that as well. So we're really hopeful that you'll start to see the improvements this year very soon. We've been working with our tenants, and we have held a couple of focus group sessions to have a look at what needs to be done, not just because of the situation with COVID and the delay that we've had, but also kind of moving forward and improvements that people want to see in relation to grounds maintenance. So the group have discussed setting up a task and finish group and looking at things like tenant mystery shopping of the service and other quality checks that we can bring in. And we're really keen to get as many views as we can fed into that. So if you are interested in getting involved in that, and you do have some views, you do have opinions, you want to help us get better and deliver a better service for you, please do get in touch with us. We'd really appreciate that. Robert, a question for you next, I think. This is coming from a resident in Deepdale who's asked what we're going to do to increase the number of black and minority ethnic groups that we work with.
Okay, thank you, Louise. Yeah, I think it's worth starting off by saying that here at CGA we recognise the rich diversity of our tenants and communities, and indeed see that as a real strength. And we also recognise it's important to continue to work in an increasingly inclusive way. We do work with quite a number of black and minority ethnic, or BAME, groups, to use the abbreviation. So, for example, we work closely with Sahara. We've put on quite a number of surges around employment and support, financial advice, positive mental health issues with those. We've worked with and are working with Preston United on some of the really important youth development and youth engagement activities. We have worked with Preston Windrush, with Pucker Disability Centre, quite a number of groups. Our approach doesn't stop there. We also actively support quite a number of the cultural events that the City of Preston puts on. So we work very closely with GooLab and the team around the Preston City Mellow, for example, both in supporting that through our workforce, but also our financial sponsorship. And similarly, we've done things with the Preston Carnival and other events. Our board has recently recommitted our approach to the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion agenda, and has approved a new strategy. And it's also recently signed up to a new charter, which ensures that we continue to ensure we have a diverse and inclusive workforce as well, which should in turn help us strengthen those links to our communities. Regionally, we've joined the Lancashire BME network, so we can keep up to speed with trends, issues and best practice. And locally, for me, it's less about working with as many groups as possible. It's more about the quality of the work that we do with local BAME groups. So over the past few months, we've actively supported a number of BAME groups through our community fund. So we've supported, financially supported schemes that have helped to provide food or hampers for children, the establishment of a COVID helpline, and also supported children to go on summer camps. We also see it's our role to help and support BME groups to help themselves as well. So we support them in accessing grant funding, which will hopefully make them more sustainable long term, and they can carry on the great work that they do in our communities. And I do know at the moment we've got an interesting project going on with Preston United, like I said earlier, with kind of youth development. So we do quite a lot of work in that area, but always keen to hear if you think we could do more. So if you do, please do get in touch and let us know.
Thanks, Rob. Okay, so next question I think is another one for me. We've had a question come in relation to Select Move, and in particular delays around kind of people being able to move into new properties. So again, at the risk of mentioning the COVID word, we obviously did have to suspend a number of our lettings during the early months of lockdown. We were still doing emergency rehousing for people, so people who may have been homeless or were suffering from domestic violence or had severe health issues that meant they needed to move. We were prioritising moves for those people. But our general lettings did have to cease or significantly slow down during that period. Obviously, as we've been coming out of the restrictions and we've been able to move that process forward and get more people moved, we have got a number less people who actually want to move. They don't feel that this is the right time for them to be moving out, so that means we do have less properties becoming empty. And equally, we have a number of people who, quite possibly because of the situation of COVID, mean that they're having to move and they're desperate to move, and we are in that difficult position of having too many people for the number of empty properties that we've got at the moment. So we are trying to prioritise them and get people moving. Mutual exchanges for people who were swapping the homes, they had to cease as well, but pleased to say that they've now moved forward. And there is a lot of them going through, and that can be quite a quick way of moving. But obviously we did need to cease that because of the COVID restrictions on occupied properties following the government guidance. So hopefully as we start to clear that backlog and we get our properties turned around, people will see that weight that some people may have been experiencing does start to reduce. Craig, I think this one's for you. We've had a question on our tenants' Facebook page about why we're spending money on new developments rather than our existing homes, and we've also had a question in about what we're going to do to make sure that all of our homes, whether they be new ones or existing properties, are environmentally sustainable.
Okay, great. Thanks, Louise. That's a really good question. I'll just firstly touch on the fact that we are losing homes every year. I mentioned earlier, 30 odd last year through the right to buy and right to acquire. So it's really important that we replace these lost homes through new quality family homes. So we are planning to spend over the next 6-7 years around £100 million on about just over 1,000 new homes. And to support us in that, we've secured some investment from private investors, around 95 million. That was a couple of months ago, so we're really keen to progress that as quickly as possible, and our board approved our future financial plans last night. Moving on to our existing homes, clearly we don't forget our existing tenants, and we do invest a lot in our existing homes. And we have over that same period, the next 7 years, around £85 million on maintaining and improving our existing homes. Plus, over the next 30 years, we have over £570 million we plan to invest. And I think it's important, we are looking at our carbon footprint, and how we can reduce people's energy bills. So the things that we're looking at around insulation, both roof and external walls, new doors, windows, heating systems, and low energy lighting. Plus, for the future, we're looking to work with our partners, looking at things such as ground and air source, heating solutions, electric dry and wet systems, and solar energy. But I think we should also note we've also already got on some of our existing homes solar panels, and all our new builds we're actually including electric charging points. And I think finally, just in terms of home technology, we're about to open our extra care scheme in Preston, and we're looking at Alexa devices there, and also for the future and our older persons accommodation, that is something we want to develop and do more of in future.
Thank you, Craig. That's great. So next question is about apprenticeships. So one of our tenants has asked if we're able to provide more opportunities for apprentices. mentioned that many of our tenants may have children who are of that age, who are looking to get into an apprentice and maybe one of the trades. So Rob, do you want to answer that one?
I can, yeah, thanks Louise. Yeah, as a local organisation, as an anchor institution within the city, we recognise that we are a reasonably large employer. We look to employ local people, provide opportunities for local people. I think around 85% of our workforce live locally currently, and we're also keen to make sure when opportunities come up that local people have a good opportunity to take advantage of that, and apprenticeships is just one way of doing that. So we do look at apprenticeships across the business, both in trades roles and within the wider business. So for example, in support functions such as IT and HR and finance, and I think actually we've got a position currently around an IT apprentice, so if you're interested, drop us a line on that one. We do have a number of trades-based apprenticeships positions, and as we look to carry out more of repairs and maintenance and development through our in-house service Gateway Property Care, there will be more opportunities coming, particularly in areas such as I think plastering, electrical, and I think plumbing as well, possibly. Maybe don't hold me to those three trades, but I think I'm right in saying that, and I do believe that those positions will be apprenticeship positions will be advertised in the very near future. So keep your eyes peeled for those. We do also have, it's worth mentioning, our subsidiary organisation Preston Vocational Centre, which offers trades-based skills as well. So painting, decorating, plastering, joinery, bricklaying, etc. And we do look to take graduates from PVC into our workforce, and have done that successfully over the past few years. And if we can't take those learners on, we try and look to our suppliers and see if they can do it. So recently, JFN Solutions took on one of the graduates from PVC, and I believe that is going really, really well. So if we can't do it, we'll try and do what we can with our suppliers, working in partnership. Final thing to say, sorry Louise, I know we're short on time, is the government has recently announced its Kickstart programme, which is all about trying to get paid work experience for 16 to 24-year-olds. So we are exploring that as well to see if we can increase the number of opportunities that we've got available using that funding. So just reiterate, we've got some roles currently, some apprentice roles are coming up in the very near future. Please keep your eyes peeled across our social media platforms.
Thanks, Rob. Conscious of time, but I think we've got a couple of ones here that we can box off relatively quickly. We had a resident on from the Cedar Road area asking about our plans for the Sycamore Road play area. From memory, it was maybe about 4 years ago that we did some consultation the last time up in that area regarding the future of that site. If I remember correctly, the consensus at the time was that the community would like to see some allotments, which is what we started kind of taking forward, but then there was very little take up of that, and I think those plans stalled. Speaking over recent months with our asset management team regarding what we do with not only that play area but all of them that we do have across the city, and we are working with our tenants, our community engagement team, to discuss how we can do some further engagement and kind of try and reinvigorate that engagement, really to take that forward. Conscious that does need something doing on it, but we're just very keen to make sure that it's the right thing that we end up doing and that it does meet what the community want and that it's going to be well used. Another quickish one, a resident of Shakespeare Road asked if we could cut some trees down that are blocking CCTV cameras. Obviously we need to get somebody up to come along and have a look at that. Cutting trees down isn't our first option. We would much rather prune those trees appropriately and make sure that we're able to keep the greenery that we have on our estates. So if the trees are healthy, it's not our first approach, as I say, to just cut them down. But I will make sure that somebody comes out and takes a look at them and understands what we can do to make sure that it's not interfering in anything. And I think, looking at the time, we've just got time for one more question, which again, coming from a couple of different people, which is in relation to antisocial behaviour, and specifically about questioning the effectiveness of reporting antisocial behaviour and what happens when a tenant calls in to report that. We did a STAR survey earlier this year, which many of you may have filled in, and if you did, thank you very much for that. It is really important that we get your views, because that's what helps us get better and improve things moving forward. Communication came through as a bit of a theme within STAR, I think it's safe to say, and this seems to be linked to this question. We have seen an increase in antisocial behaviour over the last few months, and I think particularly as people have been at home more during lockdown, tensions have been heightened, and I think that has contributed quite significantly to the increase that we've seen. But we've obviously listened to the feedback that we've had about the communication and tenants wanting to know what is going on with cases when they do report it, and how easy it is for people to report it. So we've recently introduced 2 new apps. So these can be used on any smartphone or tablet. And the purpose of them really is to try and improve that communication and make it a lot easier for tenants to report. So the first app is kind of a general app. So if you have any sort of antisocial behaviour issue, you can report it on there. Anytime there's an incident, you can log the details on there. It comes directly through. There's no need for you to phone or write in or email. You can do it all on the app, which makes it really simple, which is great. But I think much more importantly, it creates a case on the system. So any action that is being taken by the team, you can also see where the team's up to on that. So you can see what's happening with your case and how it's progressing. So hopefully that's going to be, tenants are going to find that really useful. We've already started that and launched it. The second app that we have just introduced is specifically in relation to noise nuisance. And noise nuisance is by far the biggest type of antisocial behaviour complaints that we get in number. And what this app allows tenants to do is actually record the noise as it's happening. So again, we don't have to come in and put special equipment in your home. It's a lot quicker for you. You can tag that, it time and dates it, you can record it, it's sent automatically and electronically. And what's really good about this is it's the same system that the environmental health team at the council use. And obviously the environmental health team have the statutory responsibility for enforcing noise nuisance. So they will accept the evidence that's on there. So again, you're not having to go through us and provide one set of evidence, and then we get environmental health involved and you have to provide another set. So hopefully that's going to make things a lot quicker for people. Obviously, if you don't have a smartphone or a tablet, you can always telephone us and we will always still talk you through that. So we're aware that for many of our tenants it may not have that equipment. So we will be also in the process of launching some new local digital forums. So that'll bring together all of the kind of stakeholders, the residents, ourselves, local councillors and the police, etc., really to try and replace a lot of the packed meetings that have fallen by the wayside in some areas. Obviously been very difficult during COVID for those physical meetings to take place. So this is really an opportunity for tenants to be involved, to be able to any issues that are in your area, for all of the agencies together to be aware of what those are and kind of work together. So we're hoping that those are going to launch imminently, so please do look out for some information on that, and hopefully that will help with communication as well. I think that's all that we've got time for, so thank you all for your questions. I hope you found our answers useful, and we will put all of the questions and answers up on our website shortly. So I'd now like to hand back over to David to close the AGM. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rob, Louise and Craig, for those answers. That was really interesting. Thank you, Pam, for presenting the Community Empowerment Update. and thanks to all those members who took the time to submit questions in advance of the AGM. If we didn't get time to answer your question tonight, someone will be in touch with you within the next week to provide you with a response. That brings our first virtual AGM almost to an end. But firstly, I would like to thank all you people for watching and supporting the event. If you could please ensure that you click on the link at the end of the event to fill in the feedback survey, it would be very much appreciated. And those of you who do provide feedback will receive a £5 gift voucher and being with a chance of winning £250 vouchers of your choice. I hope you have all enjoyed this evening's event and will join us on the 9th of September 2021 for the next annual general meeting. From all of us at Community Gateway, stay safe and good night.